Hey guys, it's Natasha. Thanks for coming back. So remember a couple days ago, I just posted an update that after 8 months, the Cherokee County solicitor, who is our misdemeanor prosecutor here in Cherokee County, decided to formally charge me, finally. I'm still charged with obstruction, but ×2, and they completely changed it. If you remember, this was when Officer Mills went into my house without a warrant or consent, and I went in behind him and called 911 while I demanded the warrant that he did not have. And today I wanted to just take a moment and read some of the verbiage from some of the motions that my lawyer is currently filing into my case, so that you can kind of keep up and see how I'm fighting back against essentially their corruption in this county. So quick backstory recap for those of you that may have not seen it, and there's more in detail videos, tons of them out there on YouTube. If you search Natasha Lopez, the civil rights lawyer John Bryan, and James White with Southern Drawl Law and Shields of Shame, all of them have covered my story, and I'm immensely grateful for so much support from not just them, but everybody that follows them. I really appreciate you guys. But yes, to go forward, last year in August, there was a corporal, Charles Aaron Mills, goes by Aaron Mills, showed up at my house. He wanted to ask me some questions about my adult son. I had ended up revoking implied consent for him to be on my property and told him multiple times he needed to leave and get proper warrants to return. He ended up coming back with an arrest warrant for my son, who was there visiting me, and he did not come back with a search warrant, and I did not know until after the fact. However, he did arrest my son on my sidewalk in front of my house, and then that's where it should have ended. However, he took my son to the car, and then he came back and started demanding my other children out of the house, to which I demanded to see a warrant, or where's the warrant, and he walked right past me, went in. I had to call 911 for help, and when he heard that 911 operator, he did end up arresting me for obstruction, and I do believe it was retaliatory, because you could see on the body cam he was hitting the end button to my call. Even though he was unsuccessful in ending it, he was trying to end my 911 call. So if you fast forward to now, the new charges came out May the 14th, and mind you, I have been waiting so impatiently to see if they were going to drop it or formally accuse me, because I thought it was super malicious to be sitting on my criminal charge for the last 8 months, considering they've done so much with my son's case, and they've dropped and dismissed my son's girlfriend's case. They actually... my son's girlfriend had like a pending misdemeanor already prior to this, totally unrelated, and she took a plea on it. And in that plea, the assistant solicitor actually put in there special conditions that she had to testify truthfully in any case involving Natasha Lopez, what I thought was interesting, because they were not formally accusing me, but yet they were telling everybody I was a defendant. So if that doesn't mean you didn't maliciously drag it out for 8 months, I don't know what does. Anyhow, so this time I was charged with 2 counts of obstruction. Count 1 says I obstructed Deputy Mills by failing to follow his lawful commands to remain on the porch during an active investigation. And then count 2 says that I obstructed him by failing to follow his lawful commands to exit a residence. Notice how they're now trying to make it sound like I was refusing 2 completely opposite commands at the same time: stay on the porch and exit the house. My lawyer calls it vague and insufficient, and I 1000% agree. So to read a little bit of the main motion, which was a special demurrer and a motion to dismiss, here are some of the most important parts of that. So on or about August 30th, 2025, an unlawful detention was made on the defendant, followed by an unlawful entry into defendant's residence and an arrest of defendant without a warrant and without sufficient probable cause. The arresting officers violated defendant's rights under the 4th and 14th Amendments. No exceptions to the search or arrest warrant requirements are applicable to the circumstances of this case. The defendant points that the defendant was arrested, charged, and now formally charged out of retaliation and vindictiveness. And that is right. I was charged out of retaliation because I inserted my rights, and he did not like when I did that. So anyway, My lawyer points out how vague the accusation is. It doesn't even say how I supposedly obstructed the officer or that the officer was acting in the lawful discharge of his duties, which is a required element of the crime, and what active investigation was happening on my porch or even in my home for that matter. Why was I required to stay on the porch while also being ordered to exit the residence at the same time? My lawyer cites several Georgia cases, including Holt versus State, which shows that when an officer is not acting lawfully, there could be no obstruction charge. So here's a little bit of explanation. The strongest case for us right now in that motion is State versus Almeida. The Georgia Court of Appeals, in that case, officers made an unlawful warrantless arrest into a woman's home. She refused to let them back in and was charged with obstruction. The Court of Appeals said because the entry was illegal, the officer was not in the lawful discharge of his official duties, and so the obstruction charge had to be dismissed. That case is almost identical to mine, and that's why we're asking the judge to dismiss both counts right now. There's a second motion, which is the omnibus objection. We are asking the court to reschedule my arraignment because my lawyer is going to be out of the country in a few weeks, and that's when they wanted me to do arraignment, and they want to force the state to give us a realistic witness list because right now they've listed 16 witnesses. Basically, I want to say everybody that's touched the case, but I feel like a lot of them were like involved on my son's side, and some of them weren't involved with me at all. That's not fair, and it makes it impossible to prepare. So we told the judge that we are willing to do the same, but we would like to categorize witnesses into definitely calling, might call, and probably not calling. But the state needs to do that too. So in closing, what happens next? Where we are right now, my lawyer has filed strong motions that go straight to the heart of the constitutional violations and the vagueness of these new charges. We are asking the court to dismiss the entire case. Please understand that in Cherokee County, nothing has surprised me, so I do not hold my breath and hold my hopes out that a judge will follow the Constitution and throw it out either. So I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to try to keep you guys updated as much as I can, and I'm going to try to create as much public awareness, especially locally, with what's going on with my case, because I think it's important. If they'll do it to me, they'll do it to you. They'll do it to them. They'll do it to anybody, and apparently they will go to no lengths to cover it up rather than having some sort of accountability for their actions. And I think it's bullshit. I don't think it's right. You know, I'm somebody who is a decent person. I don't have a criminal history. I work and I take care of my kids. And how dare you break into my house? And then how dare you, leadership, go and try to cover it up for one officer? So, yeah, I'm going to push back and I'm going to fight. And I feel like any judge, good judge that knows the law, knows the Constitution, will take a look at my motion and the supporting evidence and agree. And if not, we will take it to a jury trial and we'll fight it there, and my peers can decide. And if worse comes to worse, we'll go to appeals court and all the way to Supreme Court if that's what I have to do. I will do it because, yeah. So anyway, stay tuned. Thanks, guys.